Let's think about one way of integrating um, or and let's think about one way that we can integrate power in our um, let's think about one way that we can help people think about trauma in their lives. Remember, we've talked about this individual blaming frame. What's wrong with you? And then what we want to do instead is think about a more contextualized and compassionate frame. What happened to you? The approach, in the the story that Tara Westover had embodied was really dismissive of her feelings. Don't worry, the angels will take care of you, or um, you know, you should have just told me that this wasn't fun for you, that I was hurting you. And what we want to do is help people think about it differently. So think about, what did you do to survive in the situation? Um, and I've attached, or I will attach a couple of YouTube videos to sort of help you think your way through this. Um, you know, think about how your survival strategies, maybe believing your dad, maybe going along with your abusive brother. Maybe that's what made sense in terms of coping with those feelings. So the power threat meaning framework asks, what has happened to you? How is power operating in your life? How did it affect you? What kinds of threats did it pose? What sense did you make of it? What's the meaning of those situations to you? What did you have to do in order to survive? What sorts of threat responses did you have to use? What are your strengths? What access to resources and power do you have? How can you pull these together into a single, more helpful story? So, in what ways was this threat, this behavior threatening to you? As your father is throwing large iron at you, how was that? How did you see that as threatening? How did that make you feel unsafe physically or emotionally? How did you survive? How did you respond to this stressor? How can that or how are you making sense of that? Um, did you see that in terms of some sort of failure on your end, some sort of diagnosis? Or do you see it instead as a response to the threat and power in that situation? Think about some of the ways that power is operating in your life. Relationally, I mean, you can see that with Tara and her father and her mother, and also her brother. You know, she was a Mormon, and some of the ways that her Mormon faith, this Mormon cult, um, influenced the way that she saw things. Her lack of social capital, because at that point she was homeschooled, barely homeschooled. Uh, the ways that she was isolated, not listened to, the violence that she experienced, all of these things influence the way that we experience power in our lives. Think about what strengths you have. What resources can you access? Those may be in terms of relationships, the kind of social support. So at some points, Tara Westover describes her support from her grandmother, from various teachers that she had at Brigham Young, that her curiosity, her willingness to work hard. And how do you pull the story all together in a helpful way? Am I broken? Am I struggling? How can we tell a story that is helpful to us? I will see you in the next video, where we're talking about how to make some decisions about what stories are helpful.